At the company barbecue, behind the golf cart storage, I saw my wife kissing my best friend. My heart didn't race, it stopped. My name is Andrew Martinez, and I'm 48 years old. Until that October evening at the Dallas Country Club, I thought I knew what betrayal looked like. Boy, was I wrong. I've been living in Dallas for 20 years now, long enough to know that October is the only month worth having outdoor events here. The heat finally backs off, the humidity drops, and you can actually breathe without feeling like you're drowning in soup. Perfect weather for Texas Energy Solutions' annual company barbecue. I work as a senior project director there. Been with the company for 17 years, worked my way up from junior engineer after I got out of the Navy. Rachel and I have been married for 19 years. We've got 2 kids, Jessica's 16 and Michael's 13. Good kids, honor roll students, the kind that make you proud when people ask about them. Scott Williams has been my closest friend since my 2nd year at the company. We've been through everything together: layoffs, promotions, terrible bosses, decent bonuses. Our wives know each other well. Deanna's a CPA who works with several energy companies around town. The 4 of us used to do dinner and drinks pretty regularly back when life was less complicated. The barbecue was held at the country club where the company has a membership. Nothing too fancy, but nice enough to impress clients and make employees feel valued. Rachel had insisted we go together. People notice who shows up as a team, she'd said while getting ready, adjusting her earrings in the bedroom mirror. It matters for your career, Andrew. She said it in that reasonable way, you know? The tone that means the decision's already made and we're just going through the motions of discussing it. I should have paid more attention to that, so we went, and within the first 10 minutes, Rachel drifted away from me. Got pulled into conversations near the center of the patio where all the executives were hanging out. She looked confident, relaxed, like she belonged there more than anywhere else. I watched her laugh at something Scott said. My Scott, the guy I'd shared beers with after every major project for the past 17 years. Scott came over to me near the bar, handed me a Shiner Bock, made some joke about the DJ playing music that made us feel ancient. Everything seemed normal. Actually, it seemed too normal, if that makes sense. After about an hour, I needed a break. All that forced networking, people trying to impress each other over brisket and potato salad, it was getting to me. So I walked toward the back of the property where they kept the golf carts. It's quieter back there, away from all the noise. That's when I saw them. Look, they weren't being stupid about it. They'd picked a spot behind the cart storage, tucked away where only someone looking for privacy would bother to go. Rachel and Scott, his hand was on her waist. Hers was curled into his collar. The kiss wasn't desperate or stolen. It was comfortable, practiced. The kind of thing that happens when 2 people have been doing it for a while. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds. Could have been longer. Time gets weird when something big happens. You know, the party kept going behind me. Someone laughed too loud at their own joke. The DJ switched to some classic rock. Life just kept moving like nothing had changed. I stepped back slowly, like sudden movement might break whatever was holding me together. That's when I noticed Diana standing about 20 feet away, near the edge of the putting green. Her posture was straight, her face calm. She wasn't looking around or searching the crowd. Her eyes were fixed on exactly the same spot I'd been watching. Our eyes met. I expected shock, maybe tears, definitely anger. What I saw instead was something that unsettled me way more than any of those things would have. I saw recognition. She walked toward me, steady and calm as anything. Stopped close enough that I could smell her perfume, something clean and professional. Don't react, she said quietly. Not here. I swallowed hard. My throat felt like sandpaper. You knew for about 3 weeks, she replied. Long enough to figure out what this really is. I looked at her confused. What do you mean? She finally looked directly at me. This isn't just about the affair, Andrew. And if we confront them now, we'll just give them room to lie their way out of it. Her words cut through all the fog in my head. They'll call it a mistake, she continued. A misunderstanding. Say it wasn't serious, wasn't planned, just happened in the moment. I shook my head. So what are we supposed to do? We wait, she said. Voice steady as a rock. Wait for what? For them to expose themselves completely, she said, so nobody can pretend this was just some accident. I stared at her, trying to process what she was telling me. Across the patio, Scott was laughing at something Rachel said. She leaned closer to him, completely unaware that the ground was about to shift under her feet. Deanna spoke again, softer this time. I didn't want to believe it at first. 17 years of friendship doesn't just disappear overnight. But here's the thing about lies, Andrew. They leave trails. What kind of trails? The kind that don't end in bedrooms, she said. They end on paper. That hit me like a cold slap. This wasn't just about my marriage falling apart. This was bigger than that. She placed her hand lightly on my arm. Not for comfort, more like an anchor. Stay calm, we need them to finish what they started. The music got louder, someone clapped near the makeshift stage. The party kept rolling forward like nothing had happened, but something had happened. Something fundamental had shifted, and I felt it right down to my bones. I left the barbecue alone, didn't say goodbye to anyone, didn't make excuses. Just walked to my truck, a Ford F-150. I'd bought 3 years ago when I finally admitted I was a Texas guy now, and drove home through Dallas traffic with my mind spinning. Rachel texted 30 minutes later. Got pulled into a conversation with the Henderson Group executives. Don't wait up. I stared at that message at a red light. The words felt rehearsed, like she'd been practicing what to say. Okay, I typed back. It wasn't forgiveness, it was me buying time. The house was dark when I got home. Our place in Plano, about 30 minutes north of downtown. Nothing fancy, but we'd put good money into it over the years. Nice neighborhood, good schools for the kids. Both Jessica and Michael were at sleepovers, which meant the house felt bigger and quieter than usual. I sat on the couch and looked at my reflection in the black TV screen. Didn't recognize the guy looking back at me. Not because he looked broken, but because he looked more awake than I'd felt in years. When Rachel came home around midnight, I heard her before I saw her. Keys dropped on the counter, heels kicked off, that little sigh she makes when she thinks nobody's listening. You left early, she said, walking into the living room. Wasn't feeling great, I replied. She nodded, already moving past me toward the stairs. Long night, she kissed my cheek, quick, automatic, like checking off a box, and went upstairs. The shower started running a few minutes later. I stayed on the couch, listening to that water, and wondering if guilt always came with a 20-minute shower at midnight. When she came to bed, she fell asleep almost immediately, turned away from me, breathing deep and steady, like someone with absolutely nothing on their conscience. I lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the little things I'd ignored over the past few months. Late meetings that somehow always ran past 10 p.m. Her phone constantly face down on tables. The way she'd stopped asking about my day, about the projects I was working on. You know how it is. You tell yourself there's probably a reasonable explanation for everything. Work's been busy, people change, marriage goes through phases. But lying there in the dark, I started connecting dots I should have connected months ago. The next morning, I got up early, made coffee, and checked our joint account while Rachel slept in. Nothing dramatic, no huge withdrawals that would set off alarms. But there were patterns once you knew to look for them. Small transfers, regular timing, descriptions vague enough to slip by unnoticed. Consulting fees, travel advances, numbers that showed up like clockwork. I told myself it was probably nothing. Problem was, I didn't believe that anymore. At work, the office was buzzing with post-party energy. Did you see the way the Henderson Group guys were talking to Rachel? She really knows her stuff, big contracts coming up. From what I heard, Scott stopped by my desk around mid-morning, that easy smile of his in place. Great turnout last night, he said. Felt like we're really building momentum with some of these clients. Sure did, I replied, watching his face carefully. He leaned against my desk and started talking about upcoming projects. How leadership was excited about this new offshore drilling optimization system we'd been developing. How it could be a game changer for the company. As he talked, something occurred to me that made my stomach turn. He sounded like he'd rehearsed this conversation. Rachel texted just before lunch. Miss you. Dinner tonight? I stared at that message way longer than I should have. Sure, I typed back. Right around noon. Diana sent me a message from a number I didn't recognize. We should talk. Not about feelings. About facts. My thumb sat there hovering over the screen. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to go home and pretend the night before hadn't cracked something wide open inside my life. But if Diana was reaching out, it meant this thing was bigger than just our marriages going sideways. When I typed back. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Corner Cafe on Mockingbird. It's small, quiet. That evening, Rachel actually made dinner and sat down to eat with me. First time in weeks, maybe months. She talked about work stress, about feeling undervalued at the company, about how hard it was to get recognition in a male-dominated industry. She reached across the table and took my hand. You're quiet tonight, she said. Everything okay, just tired, I replied. Which was true, just not in the way she meant. Here's what I kept thinking about: how easy it would be to just ask her right there at dinner. Rachel, are you having an affair with Scott? Simple question. Direct, get it out in the open. But something Diana had said kept echoing in my head. About giving them room to lie their way out of it. About how they'd call it a mistake, a moment of weakness, something that just happened without any planning behind it. So I didn't ask. I ate my dinner and made small talk and acted like a husband who still trusted his wife. It was harder than you might think. The cafe on Mockingbird was nearly empty when I got there the next morning. One of those places designed for people who want to have private conversations without being overheard. Coffee's decent, atmosphere's bland. Nobody pays attention to anybody else's business. I ordered black coffee and waited. Diana showed up exactly on time. Dark coat, hair pulled back neat, just enough makeup to look professional. She looked like someone who hadn't slept much but was determined to get through whatever needed doing. "Thanks for coming," she said, sitting down across from me. She placed a thin folder on the table between us. The sound it made when it hit the surface was final, like a door closing. "I found out about the affair 3 weeks ago," she said. "Not everything at first, just enough to know something was wrong. Did you confront him?" "Once. Privately." She let out a slow breath. "He told me it was nothing, that he and Rachel were just collaborating on some work projects, that I was reading too much into things because I'd been stressed about my own job. I felt that familiar sting, how your own doubts get turned against you, made into your weakness instead of their lie." She opened the folder. Inside were printed screenshots, messages between Scott and Rachel. But here's the thing that really got me. These weren't love notes or romantic stuff. They were business communications. References to meetings, presentations, project timelines, cold professional coordination. They were careful, Diana said. No pictures, no obvious romantic language. But once you stop looking for "I love you" messages and start looking for planning, it's all right there. She slid another page across the table. Bank statements. Transfers broken down into small amounts. Payments labeled so generically they could mean anything. Dates that lined up perfectly with conference trips and client dinners. And then I saw something that made my blood turn cold: our joint account number. "They took money," I said. "Small amounts over time," Diana confirmed. Testing what they could get away with, seeing how much would slip by without raising flags. I stared at those papers, tasting something metallic in my mouth. Not shock exactly, more like recognition of something I'd been trying not to see. "What do you need from me?" I asked. "Confirmation," she said, "and patience." She pulled out a tablet and opened up a presentation file. My presentation. The offshore drilling optimization system I'd been working on for 8 months. Every slide, every chart, every conclusion I'd drawn from months of research and testing. The structure was identical to mine. The slide order followed my exact logic. There was even a typo on slide 4 that I'd been meaning to fix for weeks but kept forgetting about. "They copied it," I said, "word for word. And they're planning to present it as their own work next Friday." Something cold settled in my chest. Not anger yet, more like understanding. If we confront them now, they'll say it was collaborative, shared resources, team effort. Diana nodded. "Scott will probably throw you under the bus, say you gave him permission to use your work. But if we let them present it, they have to own it completely." She finished. They have to stand up there and claim it's theirs in front of legal, in front of HR, in front of everyone. I ran my hand through my hair. This is going to destroy everything. For the first time since she'd sat down, Diana's composure cracked just a little, I know. "Look, I don't hate Scott for choosing her, Andrew. People fall out of love. It happens. But I hate that he chose lying and stealing over just being honest about it." Her voice got steady again. "I'm done protecting him." "All right," I said. Diana let out a breath I didn't realize she'd been holding. "Then we do this clean, no drama, no big confrontation, just facts, documentation." We let them hang themselves. The next week was like living 2 different lives at the same time. On the surface, everything stayed exactly the same. Coffee in the morning, kiss goodbye, work, dinner, TV before bed. I got pretty good at acting like the same guy I'd always been. But underneath, everything was different. Diana and I only communicated when we had to, and when we did, it was all business. Short messages, precise language. Every text written like somebody might be reading it in court someday. I pulled access logs from our computer system, called it a routine security audit. Nothing flashy, Just timestamps that told a story if you knew how to read them. Rachel's login credentials had accessed my secure project folders twice in the past month. Both times late at night. Both times matching up perfectly with dates when Scott had asked me for updated drafts to review. By Thursday, Scott came by my office to ask me to look over the final presentation. "Just want your eyes on it before tomorrow," he said. "Casual as anything." You know how picky these executives can be. Of course, I said. "Send it over." He did, without any hesitation at all. That night, I sat at my kitchen table comparing his version with my original files. Same structure, same examples, same unnecessary slide I'd been debating whether to cut for months. They hadn't collaborated with me. They'd stolen from me. Friday morning, Diana sent me one last message. "Everything's ready. Legal has all the documentation. We just let them talk." The presentation was scheduled for 2 p.m. in the main conference room. Leadership would be there, along with legal and HR. Standard procedure for major client pitches, especially ones worth this much money. At 1:45, I took my seat in the back row. Diana came in a few minutes later and sat 3 rows ahead of me. We didn't look at each other, didn't acknowledge that we knew each other any differently than we had a month ago. Scott and Rachel walked in at exactly 2 p.m., looking confident and relaxed. They had their materials organized, their talking points memorized. They looked like two professionals about to deliver the presentation of their careers, which in a way they were. They started with the standard introduction, thanking everyone for their time, explaining how this initiative could position the company for major growth in the offshore drilling market. Scott handled the technical overview, Rachel took the financial projections. They worked together smoothly, like they'd been practicing. About 5 minutes in, the conference room door opened quietly. 2 people from legal stepped in. The shift in the room was immediate but subtle. People straightened up in their chairs. Pens stopped clicking. Conversations died. Our CEO, Mrs. Henderson, folded her hands on the table. "Before we continue," she said in that calm, professional voice of hers, "we need to address something that's come to our attention." Scott hesitated for just a fraction of a second too long. "Yes, ma'am. Legal received documentation this morning, raising some concerns about the origin of this material." Her voice stayed perfectly level. "Documentation that includes original drafts, access logs, metadata, and financial records." The room went completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. "We'd like you to explain why large portions of this presentation match internal files authored by Mr. Martinez, including timestamps that predate your involvement in this project by several months." Every head in the room turned toward me. I stood up, calm as I could manage. "Yes, ma'am, those files are mine. I have the originals with creation dates and access histories." Rachel's face went white as paper. Scott shook his head quickly, trying to recover. "Andrew shared those files with us. This was a collaborative effort." The legal representative stepped forward. "We considered that possibility, which is why we also reviewed access logs." She looked directly at Rachel. "Your credentials accessed Mr. Martinez's secure project folders on 2 separate occasions outside normal business hours without proper authorization." Rachel's voice came out shaky. "I was asked to review something. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to." "We're not finished," Mrs. Henderson said firmly. The compliance officer jumped in. "We've also identified financial transfers totaling $67,000 linked to a newly formed LLC that lists both of you as principals. These transfers coincide with dates on your expense reports and reimbursement requests." Scott's confidence finally cracked completely. "This is all being taken out of context," he said, talking fast now. "We were planning to clarify the ownership issues before we finalized anything, before presenting it as your own work to secure a major contract." Mrs. Henderson asked. Nobody said anything. The silence stretched out until it became uncomfortable for everyone. Security showed up then, not dramatic or anything, just present enough to make it clear the conversation was over. As Scott and Rachel gathered their things, Scott looked at me one more time. For the first time since I'd known him, there was no confidence in his eyes. Just a guy realizing he'd miscalculated badly. Mrs. Henderson addressed the rest of us. "This meeting is over. We'll follow up with appropriate next steps through proper channels." People filed out quietly. Lots of careful glances, whispered conversations. Everyone trying to process what they'd just witnessed. The room felt different now, smaller somehow, like all the pretense had been stripped away. Diana walked past me on her way out. "We needed them to say it out loud," she said quietly. They did. Outside the conference room, Rachel was waiting by the elevators with her arms wrapped around herself. "Andrew," she said when she saw me, "please can we talk?" I stopped a few feet away from her. "I didn't want it to happen like this," she whispered. "I never wanted to hurt you." "I know," I said. "But wanting something and choosing something are different things." She started to say something else, but I walked past her toward the parking garage. I was done having that conversation. The next few days moved fast. Legal interviewed me. I provided all my documentation. Compliance traced every dollar. Each department did their job methodically, professionally. Amazing how quickly facts move when everybody stops pretending. Scott got fired for cause within 48 hours. Rachel was placed on administrative leave while they figured out the legal implications. The project got reassigned back to me with proper attribution and about 3 times more oversight than it probably needed. Rachel moved out the following week. Stayed with her sister while we worked through the separation paperwork. The kids took it hard at first, but kids are tougher than you think. We told them the truth in terms they could understand. Sometimes marriages end, but it doesn't mean anybody stops loving them. Jessica handled it better than Michael did. She's 16, old enough to pick up on the fact that things hadn't been right for a while. Michael's 13 and still wants to believe his parents are going to work things out. We're both in therapy now, which helps. A month later, Mrs. Henderson called me into her office and offered me a partnership track position. "Integrity like yours is getting rare in this business," she told me. "We want to make sure you stay." I took the job, not because I needed the validation, but because it felt clean. No lies, no stolen work, no cutting corners. Just good engineering and honest business. 3 months after everything went down, Diana and I met for coffee. Different place this time, somewhere new, neutral ground. We didn't talk about Scott or Rachel. We talked about sleep, about therapy, about how weird it felt to be tired in a normal way instead of that bone-deep exhaustion that comes from pretending everything's fine when it isn't. "Do you feel like we won?" she asked at one point. "No," I said. "I feel like we survived." She nodded. "That's probably better." So here's where I'm now 6 months later. I'm sitting in my house in Plano. My house now, not ours. The kids are upstairs doing homework. Jessica's got some big English project due Monday. Michael's working on algebra. Normal kid stuff. I'm cooking dinner, which is something I never had time for when I was trying to hold together a marriage that had been over for months without me realizing it. Tonight it's just spaghetti and meat sauce. Nothing fancy, but it's nice to have something to do with my hands. The divorce finalized last month. Clean, straightforward, no drama. Rachel and I split everything fairly. She's working for a different company now, somewhere outside the energy sector. I heard through mutual friends that she and Scott didn't work out either, which doesn't surprise me. Relationships built on lies usually don't. Here's what I learned. What people call revenge isn't really revenge at all. It's just deciding to stop disappearing, to stop absorbing damage and pretending it's normal, to stop confusing patience with letting people walk all over you. Sometimes I think about that night at the country club, how close I came to confronting them right there in front of everyone. How easy it would have been to make a scene, to let my emotions take over. And I'm glad I didn't, because waiting didn't make me weak. It made me smart. The kids are calling me from upstairs. Dinner's ready. Jessica wants to tell me about this book she's reading for English. Some story about a guy who finds out his whole life isn't what he thought it was. Michael wants help with a math problem that's been giving him trouble. This is better. Not easier necessarily, but better. Honest, clean, real. And that's enough. The truth doesn't need to shout to be heard. It just needs to be patient enough to let lies collapse under their own weight. Sometimes the biggest victory isn't getting revenge on the people who hurt you, but discovering you're strong enough to build something better without them.